The lighting of the Love Light tree at Northeast Georgia Medical Center earlier this week. And come this Sunday, you can join Bill Maine and his friend, Frosty the Glow Man. True story. On Green Street for Christmas on Green Street. Actually, one of my favorite events of the Christmas season, of the holiday season. All of those old homes on Green Street not only are decorated for the season, but they open their doors for the public. Green Street is shut off from about First Baptist Church down to E.E. Butler. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. You get to walk the streets. All the houses have cider or candies or something of that nature. A wonderful event. I think it begins... Ooh, I probably should have looked that up before I started talking about it. But probably right around dusk. Make sure, though, that you go probably somewhere around the Quinlan Arts Center on Green Street as well, where Bill and his Frosty the Glow Man friend will be. All right, we've got a very special guest joining us to wrap up Game On, and that is Georgia Tech men's basketball coach Brian Gregory, whose team scored an incredible win last night in the Big Ten ACC Challenge against Illinois. Coach, I tweeted this out right after the win, and I want your take on it. I see the way that your team won last night, coming back from 12 down with 9 minutes to go, the kind of run you went on to end the game as a season-defining win for you all, possibly a catapult to bigger and better things. Did you feel that way in the locker room after the game?
You know, I hope it answers that because, you know, I think our guys and myself, you know, saw that when I think of Georgia Tech and I think of the way we can play and be successful, those last, 10 minutes, but even through the whole 40 minutes, that's how hard we want to play. That's the energy we want to play with. That's the ability to stick together during, adverse situations. They're going to come up in a game. You have to, stay positive and not get frustrated. And I said our guys, especially those seniors, they want this very badly. They want to, kind of be able to look back and say that was the senior class that went through a lot of tough times but got the thing back on track. And sometimes you can want something so badly that you're almost squeezing it too tight. And I think that sometimes that's our problem. And yesterday we didn't do that. We just kind of kept fighting. We stuck together, made some big plays, and I certainly hope so. I think our guys understand the things that we need to improve on to continue to grow as a team, and I think yesterday really highlighted that.
You were playing, your team, you weren't specifically, but your team was playing against a heck of a player in Ravonte Rice, ended up with 24 points, but just a slasher mentality he has getting to the basket. You all took on a team defensive mentality against him, though. How were you able to slow this young man down and turn the game around as you did?
Well, I think he had a couple really tough shots, and we just told our guys, hey, over 40 minutes, those shots aren't the ones that beat you. It's the second chance points that get you. It's the, transition baskets off a turnover, that get you. Rice is good, but at the same time, we told him we also need to make sure that he's shooting on top of us and over us from the tree and not by us on the drive. He was 3 of 9 from the tree, 8 of 15 overall. That means, he was 5 of 6 from inside the three. So that team defense where whenever he caught the ball, he saw two other guys ready to help on the drive really helped us in those last 10 minutes. Our guys did a good job. And, sometimes you need a guy that, to step up and not get discouraged when he hits a couple tough shots. And I thought Marcus, George's son, as a sophomore, did a really good job of that. And at the same time, there was a couple possessions where Solomon Poole was on him, a little smaller, gives up a little bit, about 40 pounds in the matchup, but was tough enough and quick enough to kind of crawl into him and get him a little uncomfortable as well.
We're talking with Georgia Tech men's basketball coach Brian Gregory to wrap up the Wednesday edition of Game On. 67-64 the final. Last night, Georgia Tech beats Illinois, rallies to get that win. Georgia Tech, the first team this season to score more than 63 points against the Illini. But, Coach, more so than your offense, I think that speaks to the defense that you all played last night. What kind of a focus is defensive pressure for you, and how important is it heading into the ACC season?
Well, I think it's important because it does act as kind of the start of our offense. The better we are defensively, the better we force low percentage shots. We don't want teams to shoot well from the three, and we don't want teams to finish at the basket. And then the in-between, we got to contest and challenge every shot. And if we do that, the one thing that we've been able to do, and it's been a point of emphasis since day one here, and our guys have really done a great job, is we are a very good rebounding team. And Illinois came in as the number one offensive rebounding team in the country. They were rebounding, if you can believe this, 42% of their misses they were getting the rebound on, which is just astronomical when you think about it. And we held them to 9 offensive rebounds yesterday, and that was a big key. And that gets our break going, and now we're able to push the ball and either score in the open court or initiate our offense at our pace, as opposed to, using a boxing term, being a counterpuncher on offense. We are on the attack every single possession, and that helps us flow into our stuff, and it also helps us get the ball into the low post, which we did a tremendous job of yesterday.
Coach, you got your Yellow Jackets at 7-3 thus far in the 2013-2014 season. You've got games coming up December 7th against East Tennessee State and Kennesaw State. We wish you best of luck in those games, and thank you so much for taking time out on the recruiting trail, mind you, to join us on Game On. We appreciate you, Coach Gregory.
Hey, anytime. Thanks for having me on again.
Sure thing. Georgia Tech men's basketball coach Brian Gregory, great of him to call in. Indeed, on the recruiting trail, they play Kennesaw State December 16th and then Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt December 21st. After the start of the first of the year, they will get into the ACC schedule, which will include games at Maryland, at Duke, obviously against Notre Dame and Pittsburgh, Boston College, Syracuse, and they end up their season March 8th with Virginia Tech. Hopefully between now and March 8th, we'll have Brian Gregory on a few more times to talk about a few more big wins. Brent Holloway going to join us tomorrow at 7:30, the same time we had Morgan Lee on tonight. And we're going to make our picks, and that is in lieu of a high school football roundtable. We hadn't done the high school football roundtable the last couple of weeks because really the teams to talk about have been pared down, and we don't want to beat a dead horse. So we have Morgan on to preview some of the games, and then tomorrow Brent will come on, and both Brent and I will make our picks for the state semifinal matchups happening Friday night. Kind of a little side note here as we wind things down. Love talking sports. You all know that. I could talk about sports all day and tend to, much to the chagrin of my coworkers. But a listing came out of Yahoo, and it's a recap of the top stories, comeback fads, viral obsessions that captivated searchers, and top trends, things like that. But on the web. So what were the most searched for things on the web? And I actually stole this from Bill Main. They used it this morning on the Bill and Joel Morning Show, so I apologize for stealing. I'm actually just borrowing it. I'm going to put it back. I'm going to put it back in his pile of stuff, I promise. But something that caught my eye: the top how to cook searches on Yahoo in 2013. The top how to cook searches on Yahoo in 2013, and the reason it caught my eye is because the number one search on this list I've searched for, and that is how to cook spaghetti squash. Listeners out there, have you had spaghetti squash? Have you tried it? It's okay. It's a good, okay, I'm not going to go so far as to say good. It is a, what's the word I'm looking for? Instead of pasta, you can use spaghetti squash.
So it's an alternative?
Alternative. It's a Wednesday.
So if you don't even, if you can't even describe it as good, then why would you want to make it?
Well, because it's not as good as pasta. So saying it's a good alternative for pasta, meh. It is a healthier alternative to pasta. But the making of spaghetti squash from beginning to end, horrifically disgusting. And the reason it is because of this. I want you to imagine that in some alternate universe, much like a cyborg, you could be split open. Just cut right down the middle, split open. And all your insides, instead of being core, hard things, are strings. You are made up of strings. But you don't know they're strings until you go inside and touch them, and then they break into strings. Doesn't that sound disgusting?
That sounds terrifying.
That's what a spaghetti squash does. You cut the thing open, and first of all, it takes a good 12 minutes to cut it open. You cut the thing open. So there it is, filleted on my cutting board. I have a very good cutting board, by the way, thanks to Santa Claus himself. It's filleted on my cutting board, and then it says that you just need to, take a spoon and start scooping out. And so I'm like, okay. I do it, gag. I gagged. It was, oh my word.
See, my biggest takeaway from that article is that people still apparently use Yahoo to do searches, as if this were 1998.
Right? Thank you. Top food crazes that buzzed on Yahoo in 2013, cronuts, coconut oil Twinkies, ramen burger. What?
Oh, that's interesting.
Dorito Locos Tacos, check please, drop mic, walk off stage, go to Taco Bell and get one. Sriracha pretzel burger. Top search sports teams on Yahoo in 2013. Dallas Cowboys, Boston Red Sox. Not an Atlanta team. Of course it wasn't. All right, folks, we'll be back tomorrow. Talk a little more high school football and some other things, as long as they're sports related. Between now and 7 tomorrow, game on.
She's just a girl, but she's on fire.